Joe Rogan and Elon Musk's interview didn't feel like just another podcast conversation. It was more like a political awakening. The kind of conversation that once you hear it, you can never unhear it. It was two highly influential men saying the quiet part out loud. That the Democratic Party of today isn't acting like a political party anymore. It's acting like a childish regime. Welcome back, and if you're new, this is going to be a good one, so make sure you like, comment, and consider subscribing for daily news updates. It means the world to me, and don't forget to share. Rogan sat there and let Elon talk, and Elon did not miss a beat. He didn't hesitate. He called out the Democrats directly, arguing that they are no longer operating for the interests of American citizens. He claimed that they are clinging to power by any means necessary, even if it means weaponizing immigration, censoring disagreements, and dragging out the shutdown for weeks on weeks. Let's watch this clip of Elon Musk blatantly saying that the Democrats are destroying our democracy and how he goes on to explain how.
Have this, the standoff is because if the hundreds of billions of dollars to create a financial incentive to have this giant magnet to attract illegals from every part of Earth to these states, if that is turned off, the illegals will leave because they're no longer being paid to come to the United States and stay here.
Wow.
And then they will lose a lot of voters. The Democratic Party will lose a lot of voters.
And they would have a very difficult job if this is kicked out of reintroducing it into a new bill.
Yes.
Especially once things start normalizing.
Yes. So in a nutshell, the Democratic Party wants to destroy democracy by importing voters, and the Republican Party disagrees with that.
And the ruse is that if you don't accept what they're doing, then you're a threat to democracy.
Yes.
As they try to destroy democracy.
Yes.
By importing voters.
That is literally what they're doing.
People to only vote for them, and overwhelming the system.
Yes. And by the way, it's a strategy that, if allowed to work, would work. And in fact, has worked. California is supermajority Democrat.
Yeah.
And there's so much gerrymandering.
Rogan is listening to Elon explain everything. His main point is that the Democrats are trying to import voters. By having these billion-dollar programs to get all of these people to come to the states, of course they're going to vote for the ones who brought them over, the ones who are paying them to be here. By doing that, it will sway and overwhelm the voting system, and they will have their way. Elon even said it would work. The plan has worked before. We can look at certain states and see the demographics of voting and see, are these voters coming from American citizens or are they coming from immigrants? And Elon made a great point. He said that if that program and that money was to stop flowing to the immigrants, they would leave. They would no longer stay in America. And what would that do? That would take all of those votes away from the Democrats. They would lose that voting power. And that right there shows you that the way they're going about it is wrong. Next, I want to look at Elon admitting that the Democrats use undocumented immigrants to rig elections. Look at this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then here's another thing that is very important. In fact, that is actually not disputed by either side, which is that when we do the census in the United States, the way the census works for apportionment of congressional seats and electoral college votes for the president is by number of persons in a state, not number of citizens.
Right.
It's number of people. So you could literally be a tourist, and you will count.
Now, how do they do the census when they do that? Do they ask people? Do they knock on doors? Do they have them fill out forms? Like what?
Yeah, I think they mail out census forms and knock on doors. But the way the law reads right now, is that if you are a human with a pulse, then you count in the census for allocating congressional seats and presidential votes.
Right.
So so
electoral college,
everything.
So seats, everything.
It doesn't matter whether you're here legally, illegally, and if you're a human with a pulse, you count for congressional apportionment. So that means that the more illegals that California and New York can import, by the time the census happens in 2030, the more congressional seats they will have, and the more presidential electoral college votes they will have. So they're trying to get as many illegals in as possible ahead of the census, and because all human beings, even tourists, count for the census, and then if you combine that with gerrymandering of districts in New York and California, as you point out with this proposition where they're trying to increase the amount of gerrymandering that occurs in California, the biggest state in the country.
In that clip, Elon Musk explained something highly important. He said that the main reason the Democrats want to have immigrants coming over so quickly is because it'll help the voter amounts. The consensus, all of the data they need to determine the Electoral College, Congress, the House, all of those people will be decided by the consensus that regular people can make. And they do this by mailing it out, door to door, and anyone can do it. Elon even mentioned that even if you're here as a tourist, you still count to the consensus. I don't know about everyone else, but as an American, when I travel to other countries, I get no say in how their government system works. No one is asking me to participate in something for a place that I'm not legally supposed to be there for. Another part to point out is that the Democrats are abusing this power. They know exactly what they are doing. For the undocumented immigrants, all they want and see is an opportunity to get their papers. But what the government and the Democrats see, they see a way to take an advantage of the government system. They are the ones who are truly abusing it and using it to their advantage. And for the Democrats, this might seem like a very smart play for them. But in reality, it's going to come back with consequences. And it will come back with consequences that don't only affect the Democratic Party. It's also affecting other people's lives. The immigrants are still people. So to have to be jumping over from one country to another with all of this chaos just so they can have your vote is unfair. I want to look at this short clip of Elon calling Trump not evil, even though they parted ways after being very close. Take a look at this.
Especially after I, helped Trump get elected, which, I mean, some people still think, Trump is like the devil, basically. And I mean, I think Trump actually, is not perfect, but he's not evil. Trump is not evil. I mean, I spent a lot of time with him, and he's a product of his time, but he's not evil.
No, I don't think he's evil either. But if you look at the media coverage,
the media treats him like he's super evil. Yeah,
it's pretty shocking if you look at the amount of negative coverage. Like, one of the things that I looked at the other day was mainstream media coverage of you, Trump, a bunch of different public figures, and then
it's like
Mamdani.
96% negative or something crazy.
Yeah. And then Mamdani, which is like 95%.
In that clip, we get a little bit of insight on how Elon feels about Trump. And yes, while he says that Trump is not perfect, he also says that Trump is not evil. He's not by any means. Elon expressed that he spent a lot of time with Trump while running the candidacy for presidency, as well as just spending regular time with him, knowing him. And we all know how close they were before they parted ways. But he can even publicly still say that Trump is not evil. Yes, he's not perfect. No one is perfect. Everyone will make mistakes. But to not come on here and bash him, but to really uplift him instead, that is a big shock for the media that I don't think they will like. Joe Rogan even shared that when he does his own research on Elon, Trump, and other public figures like Trump, they all come back with severe negativity. Everything you hear about them on the news and social media is negative. And a part that was shocking to hear from me was that when it comes to Mamdani, he has a 95% positivity on his ratings of how he's doing. So it really shows you that media is all up to perception and if you really know what's going on or not. Lastly, I want to take a look at this clip of Elon revealing that Doge is still working hard for the Trump administration. Watch this.
Did you think you were going to be able to get more done than you were?
We did get a lot done,
right?
And Doge is still happening, by the way. The Doge is still underway. There's still waste and fraud being cut by the Doge team, so it hasn't stopped.
It's less publicized.
It's less publicized, and and they don't have like a clear person to attack anymore.
Well, it seems like once you stepped away,
they're basically they applied immense pressure to me to stop it. So then I'm like, the best thing for me is to just cut out of this. And in any case, as a special government employee, I could only be there for like 120 days anyway, something like that. So whatever the law says. So I was necessarily could only be
in
there.
That clip. Joe Rogan comes with a great question. Does Elon think he could have done more in his time? And he lets him know he still is doing stuff. His company with Doge, it's still working with Trump's administration. Yes, it's less publicized now, but that doesn't mean anything. They are still there working hard, fixing the problems and making sure the government is not just wasting money. He did share that though they don't have a specific person to attack anymore or an organization to go after, they are still there working and figuring out the smaller details. And it goes to show you that even despite their differences, they still are able to come together when need be to run a government and a country. And even Elon mentioned that, yes, while he's not directly there anymore, because he couldn't because of the rules of only being a special employee, he still has the inner workings of everything and the company is running smoothly. It's almost like people forgot they existed or thought because they had a falling out that Trump just totally got rid of them. When no, that wasn't the case. Because the Trump administration knows that Doge was a good program for a good reason. And it all goes to show that despite their differences, Elon still came publicly and gave his flowers to Trump. So it shows a level of maturity and leadership. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time on KW Lawholic.